Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here. Glad to be alive. Glad to be above 6 feet. Appreciate all you love the game 24/7 podcasters out there that love to enjoy the show. You can see me live right now on YouTube. You can see me live on Facebook. You can see me live on IG right now at Love the Game 24_7. You can also follow the Facebook community that I had started and looking to grow. I appreciate you guys supporting Love the Game 24/7 podcast. Please be sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, IG, Facebook, follow Coach Smith. But I appreciate you guys, man, helping this platform grow and just continue to share it with others to help their young person with their recruiting dreams, playing a sport in college, because that's what this is all about. And also teaching, going into some in-depth teaching more about what you need to do to help grow your exposure. Because you guys have to realize it goes beyond you being viral. Coaches aren't giving out scholarships because you're a viral sensation. Some of them might think it's a distraction to you being a good athlete. And so you have to be careful about thinking that all you need to do is go viral. No, they're going to give you a scholarship because of what they see you doing in your sport, on that football field, on that basketball court, on that softball field or baseball field, or that volleyball court. You might definitely get some attention and some exposure for them to look further, but you're not going to get a scholarship because you're a viral sensation showing your videos. You're going to get scholarships because you can play that sport at a high level, and they want you to be a part of their program to help elevate their institution and their athletic program. So don't be fooled. Don't be thinking that that's all you have to do, because you have to do a lot more than just post videos. Okay, for college recruiters to want to recruit you. Okay, you got to be if you love the game 24/7, as I share what this podcast is all about, that's what you have to exude or be an example of when these recruiters start to recruit you, as you start gaining exposure. So just don't be fooled by that, guys. That might make you popular to do some other things outside your sport, which is cool and great, but don't get it confused. But once again, I just thank you and appreciate you guys joining, getting this content. It's going to help elevate your knowledge of what you need to commit yourself to be a better athlete in your sport, whether you're a young lady or a young boy. And you need to make sure that you dedicate yourself to that. But we got some good stuff that we're going to talk about today. But like I said, man, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Would love the game 24/7. Follow me on the IG. You can follow me at Coach Smith 27 on IG, and you can also follow me at Love the Game 24_7 on IG. Right, and I'm also on Facebook. For a lot of you parents out there, you need to get this information to help your young person in their recruiting journey, in their recruiting goals and dreams of getting those multiple scholarship opportunities. That's what this is all about. If you're not willing to put in the work, okay, young person, young lady, young man, if you're not willing to put in the work, okay, and don't be afraid of the term work, because if you love the game 24/7, it's not work to us. When you love something, it's not work. And when you can benefit from it by earning a scholarship that pays hundreds of thousands of dollars towards your education, and you can also earn you some potentially NIL money if you do some things well in that way also. And so we'll get into a little bit of that today. Be sure to go to my link tree, linktree.com love the game 24_7. You can get to all of my social media platforms from Linktree. You don't even have to think about all those other things. But be sure when you get there, you click on all those social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook community, Facebook, right? YouTube, all right? Get all those things, um, and get on all those platforms and get this great content, um, and let's get the ball rolling. But there's a couple of things I just want to just discuss today, a couple of topics, and then we'll get out of here. I saw where that Alton Schultz made a comment about what's going on with, or what the Dallas Cowboys culture is like, and how you make that term that it's like a zoo. And we know that's what it's all about. It's about culture, and what culture a program, a college program, or a pro sports organization is creating or building with who they recruit, right, or who they sign. And so it's no different at the college level than it is at the pro level. And Dalton Schultz was making it. I think I have his name correctly. He's a tight end that now plays with the Houston Texans. And he just shared a story about how, even trying to go to the weight room, fans have a lot of access because that's how Jerry Jones has built that culture in Dallas. They're the most wealthiest pro sports organization in the world, worth over $9 billion. Now just think about what they would be worth if they could ever get over the hump and win another Super Bowl in these days and time. One thing I can say about Jerry Jones, he's a awesome marketer or promoter of his sports franchise. He does it better than anybody else in the world. But it's not going to get him a championship if you don't get a clear of winning on the field. You win everywhere else, right? And that's what I was explaining to you guys. You can win doing all that viral stuff and promotion, but if you love the game and you want to have an opportunity to play the game and have some success at the game, you gotta, you gotta do what it takes on that field. And so Dalton Schultz was just explaining that they could be in the weight room trying to, one second here, uh, he could be in the weight room trying to get a workout in, but because they have these huge windows where they have fans walking through, because it's such a huge and beautiful stadium in Dallas. It is a wonderful and beautiful stadium. I haven't had a chance to go in there. I've just seen pictures. Um, I've been on the outside, but I haven't had the blessing of being inside, going in. Um, but just from the pictures I've seen and talking to people that I know who's been inside the stadium, it's a beautiful, awesome uh, building. And he just explained that sometimes, hey, I want to just focus and have me and the guys in the waiting room and not having fans walking through, tapping on the glass window, trying to get your attention for an autograph. And like he said, he wasn't downing it, because he was like, hey, for some guys that's cool. There's no big deal, for them. But look what Houston did in a short period of time compared to what Dallas has been trying to replicate, of getting back to the Super Bowl, and it's been over 20 years and it still hasn't happened yet. So that must mean, you know, does Jerry really love the game from the standpoint of wanting the Super Bowl? I don't doubt that he does. I believe he does want a Super Bowl. But if you don't, if you get too involved as the owner the way he does, it's detracting or taking away from some of those players who, like Dalton Schultz, went over to the Houston Texans, and they almost got to the Super Bowl. In a short period of time, you got a brand new coach over there, and an ownership that doesn't do some things like Jerry has. But you be rest assured, you win a Super Bowl, the value of the Texans will shoot up. I don't think they'll ever surpass the Cowboys, but their value will shoot up, and they'll probably have a lot of success. But you have to be careful. And I just shared that story, just explaining about how you can do all those things outside, okay, like Jerry does, and as Dalton Schultz shared that, he wasn't giving a negative. He was just saying it is what it is. That's what it is in Dallas. And if you're okay with that, then you'll probably be okay as a Dallas playing for the Cowboys. He just It just didn't always sit well with him all the time because he just felt like it was a distraction for him, you know, and that was just him personally. But for some, it may not be. But has it gotten them a Super Bowl? Has that type of um, mindset or marketing or the way you've done things, has it gotten you a championship? Nope, has not gotten the Dallas Cowboys in over 20 years another championship. And you may not see it. For all you Dallas Cowboy fans out there, I'm sorry to break your heart. But if you keep doing the same old thing, expecting different results, we all know what that means, right? We all know what that term means. It means it's insane. That if you keep doing the same thing and you think it's going to get you different results, and it's been over 20 years and it hasn't happened yet, well, and so that's why I want some of you young athletes out there to learn. You can learn right now from what I'm talking about and seeing and watching how college operates, how pro teams, operate the culture. So when you're getting recruited, you want to be sure that that's why I say it's important for you to take unofficial trips. If you get the blessing of taking official trips, you do that. You want to go to camps, you got to do that. And stop thinking that 7-on-7 is getting you scholarship. 7-on-7 has its purpose, and it does have some development things that it can help for you. For a quarterback, it can help somewhat, but it's not realistic for a quarterback when you got pressure and people breathing down your neck and guys who can run 4-3 and 4-4 coming off the edge that aren't little men. They're big men. They're giants, and they can run today. And when you got guys like that breathing down your neck, 7-on-7 is not a good um, tool for a quarterback to get a realistic indicator for how successful that he will be throwing the football, right? Um, and then we got to look at the AAU circuit. Same thing. You know, you get some kids who are AAU or travel ball. Sometimes you can do too much in travel ball, and you need to rest your body and make sure you can still perform at a high level and eliminate um, potential injuries because you're just overworking and overdoing things. In like AAU circuit, you can get on some teams and you think, oh, we got all the best players, but are those kids being developed? Are they learning how to struggle through some things and how to work through some things if everything is always so easy for them? And when they get to somewhere to college, like I did when I went to college, I wasn't used to losing um, in high school and in little league. And then when I went off to college in my first couple of years, we were, I think my second year, I think it was my first year. I think we lost almost all of our games except for like maybe 2 games, 3 games. That was hard to deal with, right? Because I came from a culture that wasn't, we weren't used to losing like that. And then I go to this Division 2 school and we're losing. So it took some maturing on my part and my teammates' part when we got a new coach. When Coach Dave Doach came in, Dolch, Coach Dave Doach came in. He changed the mindset. He changed the culture that put us on a winning path. Um, and so you have to, parents have to be responsible just as much of paying attention to those things to be sure that your athlete is maturing and humbling herself or himself. And don't think all this AAU circuit and travel ball circuit is something um, that is a key to you getting a scholarship, because it is not. It may, in some cases it can be a piece of the puzzle, but I don't think it's the main part of the puzzle, because you have to be in front of the people who are going to give you scholarships, and those are the college coaches and college recruiters. And some of them do come to AAU, and some of them do come to travel ball games. Um, they do. Some scouts are there. You got all these different um, recruiting services or whatnot, and it's timing kids pitching the ball, guys running and batting and fielding and all those things. Young ladies doing the same thing, batting and fielding. But to me, it's better to be at a school or several schools that you may go to every year, starting in middle school. As I said, you got to start early, where you build a reputation and those coaches know you, even if they transfer, even if some of those coaches move and go to other schools. And you make sure you keep a track of where these assistant coaches and head coaches may be moving to, and you show up at a camp, or some of these coaches remember you and they will, because you've been a regular since you were in, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, attendance their camp, getting taught and getting better at your game, whatever it may be, in lacrosse or hockey. Doesn't matter what sport, doesn't matter if you're male or female. Just don't always think this viral stuff is what's getting you a scholarship, or because you're eating it up on 7 and all those things, right? Um, like I said, I believe those things do have a place. They absolutely do. I'm not knocking. I'm a supporter of it, but uh, it's not the key to your success of earning a scholarship, because you better be able to do it in your sport when it's game time, when those lights come on, right? When that ice gets shaved and they get ready to start that hockey match. Okay, you got to be ready to show it in your sport, in a game that matters and means something, and show your skill set. And it doesn't always mean, excuse me, it doesn't always mean that you will have wins or losses. That definitely is important to us, because we do want to win. We do want to show that our skill set and our leadership as a young lady or as a young man in our sport helps us win, and that is important. That if you can do that and show that and turn a season around because of you being him or you being her, or a big part of 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 why the team is successful and why that program is putting people in school or in college and earning scholarships, because of the talent that's coming out of that program, because that coach is invested in their athletes, and it's important for them to have kids be successful and go on and have scholarship opportunities at whatever level that they can get a scholarship. And so that's important to helping you fulfill that dream of getting your scholarship to help supplement or even pay your education expenses in full. And then also you're learning how to use that to possibly help you get some NIL opportunities, right? And so don't, like I said, culture is a big deal. Culture has always been a big deal. It's not a new concept. Okay, culture is not a new concept. It's always been a concept. And if you don't have the right culture, and parents, if you don't take a responsibility in making sure your student um, um, athlete gets into a culture that's going to help elevate their skills and ability, and whether they are a humble young lady or a humble young man, then you want to do that. And that starts with the coach, with him or her who's leading that program or who's leading that team, athletic directors who are leading athletic programs. And you have to take that same mindset when you're starting to visit colleges and have scholarships, opportunities coming to you. And you have to be sure that you don't get too caught up in the hype, that when you're taking these visits, or especially official visits, you want to be sure you talk to players. You want to get, young lady, young man, when you do these visits, you want to get to meet some of these college young ladies that you're going to be possibly playing with, right? Even some young ladies you might be doing visits with. Okay, you want to talk and ask some questions, like, what is the atmosphere here? How do they take care? How do they take feel like you are being well taken care of? Same thing for you, young men. You got to do the same thing. And parents, you got to know what questions to ask. That's why this 10-week digital course that I'm putting together is so vital and crucial to help you get uh, down to some details, down to um, some important questions that you need to learn to ask, and what you need to be looking to hear, and how to make your decision from the information that you gather. So when your child or your athlete takes these trips, they learn and already have an edge on how they're going to make their decision, because you've been part of this 10-week digital course with Love the Game 24/7 and Coach Smith. And we're not going to play games. We're going to come 100 on it, right? We're not going to sit here and play around with um, what it is that you need to be focused on as you are getting recruited, or as you are growing your exposure, or all those different things that you need to um, be sure that you put yourself on the map, right? Because when you play on in your middle school and your high school sport, you know You want to be sure that even if one thing you guys got to understand too, even when you're getting recruited at your school, there are teams you play against in your conference, division, in your city or county or whatever the case may be. And you best believe there are some other kids that you play against that are getting recruited by some of the same schools. And so guess what you think those scouts or those recruiters are going to do when they go to those schools? They're going to ask the coach, "Hey, what do you think about uh, Jeff Smith over there at Lakewood High School? Um, what do you think about that young man? Or what do you think about uh, Shelly over there on the lacrosse team?" And if you're him or you're her, that opposing team, you know, you want to hear, they want to hear that coach say to them, "Oh man, she's one of those ones we had to, you know, be prepared, try to get my kids to be prepared for as much as possible." And if we didn't prepare for that young lady, or if we didn't prepare for that young man, look here, um, they can take over a game, right? They can take over and win it for, so that's the kind of reputation you want. It ain't just that viral stuff. That's great. All that stuff that's just the extras, right? When you can go viral, all those things, that's just extra. But you want to have the respect from your opposing teams that when recruiters go to these other schools and ask about you specifically, is that other team, is that opposing team, when that recruiter goes to that other school to see another player and even ask that other player what they think about you, or ask that opposing coach that you've played against for all these years, what do they say about you? Because that recruiter wants to know if that other coach, if some of those opposing players like, oh no, he's the one, she's the one. That's what you want to hear. All that viral stuff is great, but I want to hear as a recruiter what those other people are saying about you when you play against them. Oh, they're a dog. Oh boy, look here, they don't play. They are tough. They are skilled. They're one of the best. She's one of the best, if not the best player on that team, right? Or they got some players over there, man, that if you don't prepare when it's time to play them, you're asking for it. That's what you want recruiters to hear when they are recruiting you. That you are you are that person. So all the viral stuff and all that stuff is great, right? That's that extra stuff. Okay. And so this is what I'm telling you. This is why I say I'm dropping diamonds on you all, trying to help you understand. Get with uh, this podcast, get with the 10-week digital course. I don't care what sport you're playing. I don't care if it's soccer, whatever the case may be. You need to get this information, and we need to get down into the details, and you need to be able to ask some questions. Okay. But like I said, all that AAU stuff and the travel ball, you know, I am a uh, expert at this information, I believe, because as I said, I was able to create opportunities for myself without anybody really teaching me anything, just being taught to learn how to listen to what other people are saying when I was young, because I was taught, okay, I need to learn this. Okay, let me hear what they're saying. Okay, then there were some things I just figured out on my own, man. I just believe God just dropped and said, yeah, this is what, do this. Okay. Because I was just focused, man. I can't, put this pressure on my mom. Okay, single mom. I got to take care of some of this burden, some of this myself. Okay, and so that's what I did, you know. Um, and same thing. So as I did that, I learned more, got into coaching. I made sure, hey, my mind was always, hey, this is what I'm doing with my boys, my kids, because I know they can play ball, right? And I knew that they could do it at a young age, just because how well they took to certain things. I'm like, okay, these guys can play. And that's so I did some things. I did a little travel ball briefly with my boys. My youngest son was part of his team that made it to the playoffs. That would have given them, if they would have won, would have had a chance to go to um, the Little League World Series tournament. Um, but they fell short. But he was on he made the All-Star team. When he was in middle school, and had that opportunity. We traveled to Tallahassee for the Little League All-Star in Florida, which was awesome. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where um, that's more important to help build and encourage your young person to love the game and see where it could potentially take them to possibly earn a scholarship. And so you have to do some of those things. Absolutely. And but if you're looking to be a viral sensation and doing that only, you have to be careful with that, because if you are looking to be great in your sport, all that stuff has a place and it can't be a distraction. Okay. And so, there's a time when, hey, when the season's over, I may lay into doing some of this, or I let some stuff let mom and dad do. And there's some things, of course, you as an athlete can do and should do, because you know this stuff like the back of your hand. And so definitely when you start graduating to the college level, high school, from middle school to high school, and then high school to college, these coaches, these recruiters want to know that you're bought into the program. And so you want to do all you can uh, to commit yourself to being uh, bought in with the program, and knowing when to use those opportunities to do viral stuff. But make sure that the coach doesn't have to call anybody out because you're not doing what it needs to be done in your sport when it's time to play the game. For real, for real. Okay. So just be sure that when you do stuff viral, that the coach don't have to worry about, she don't have to worry about you guys taking care of business when you um, get in the game. They know you're going to be 100% bought in and ready to play and ready to help your team win. So don't ever let that be an issue. Okay, young person. Um, so so just letting you guys know um, how this thing works. Don't be fooled. It's all about culture, and it's always been about culture. And those ones who do it best, okay. Jimmy Johnson, I think, did it the best, one of the best, and got a lot of championships. Some people need to go back and look at the tapes and follow that concept that Jimmy Johnson had at University of Miami, where he let his players be them, but also he held them accountable, and they knew he didn't play. They knew he cared about them. They knew he was invested in them. They knew he was going to do everything they can to help his players get to the next level. Those who had the ability to play at the next level. So don't be fooled now. You know there are coaches like Jimmy Johnson who allowed his guys. That's why Miami was able to do what they did. They a whole they set the tone about what it means to have culture in a program, college program. Okay, and so I'm not saying they did everything perfect. Okay, but the thing that he did do perfect, he let those young men be who they were, and they knew there were certain lines that they couldn't cross. And for some of those ones who did cross the line, you best to believe they got dealt with. Okay, but they won championships. And then Jimmy Johnson, to me, is the GOAT. I know Nick Saban is good, and we'll get on that subject here shortly. Um, but to me, Jimmy Johnson won championships at both college and the NFL. And Dallas hasn't seen a championship since Jimmy Johnson left, because he had the same type of culture. He had that reputation, and Michael Irvin and those guys knew the type of man he was, and were able to com, com, converse that message to players who didn't play at Miami. But he had guys like Michael Irvin and Emmett Smith that could pass on that information and say, "Man, no, Jimmy Johnson, he's the real deal. He's gonna let us be us, but we also gonna respect him. But he's gonna let us be who we are, and we're gonna win some games and some championships." And that's what he did. So to me, when you talk about a GOAT at college and at the pro level, just about a GOAT, I would have to say Jimmy Johnson, because he did it at both the college and the pro level. You know, so that segues me right into my next topic on Nick Saban coming out recently, I think this week or last week, sometime, saying about how one of the reasons why he left was because players didn't have an issue of saying, hey, how much am I going to play and how much money am I going to get paid. Let's understand, folks, NIL is not a new concept. It's been going on. It's been going on for years. Do your homework. Do your research. All right. I played college ball, and I know guys who were heavily recruited when I was coming up. I know stories. I've seen some things. This NIL is not new, not a new concept. And so stop thinking it's hurting college sports. It is not, because there's nothing new. The only thing new about it now is that it's not a rule. It's not against the rule anymore. And let's stop thinking it's not amateur sports anymore. It is amateur sports. The college is not on NIL deals. Colleges aren't paying athletes, boosters, people who are alum who invest and give a lot of money to the college, right? Or alum who own businesses, who own car dealerships, who own or who work for major corporate jobs, or big owned companies in those towns or cities where all these colleges are. It's still amateur sports. They don't have to be on. They're not on the payroll at the university. Okay, they're not on the payroll at the university. They're getting paid. There's a collection, right? That's being built. They have a third party, okay, that a lot of these schools are using, and some of these NIL deals are performance based for them to, there's some that, hey, because I got a name, image, and likeness that people recognize me, and somebody wants to put me on a commercial, or somebody wants me to go sign some of our players to go sign autographs because they want to know, they want to get close to the University of Nebraska Huskies football players, or track athletes, or swimmers, or wrestlers, or whatever sport that these kids love, and their parents take them to these events. They are not getting paid by the university. It's not a university issue. Sometimes people will spin a narrative to make you one thing, make you think one thing that is not happening, that's not an issue. Okay? There's just, you guys have to understand, there's billions of dollars being made. Okay? And so there, to me, it's still not an issue of a coach holding a kid accountable. I don't care if the kid is making $1 million. It's still, at these top successful programs, they're not making more than the college coaches. Okay? And you got to understand that, college coaches are making money outside of their football or basketball or whatever, you know. And now you got to understand now, swimming is not going to make the same money that basketball and football are making, right? Track and field is not going to make the same thing as um, maybe baseball or softball, okay, or volleyball, okay. So there is a difference, okay, on who brings in a lot of money. And some of these uh, uh, sports in college, they aren't making as much money as another sport maybe. So you have to keep things equitable and fair. All right. But I believe everybody should have an opportunity. Okay. And there are some people who have access to millions of dollars that were on the swim team at Liberty University. And they're gonna get money in their opportunities as swimmers at Liberty University because they were a swimmer or they were a track athlete, okay, at their school, or they were a wrestler at their school, and now they're a major alum, and donating money into the wrestling program. Okay, but let's not be fooled. NIL has been happening. The reason why Nick Saban doesn't want to deal with it, because now I have to expose who I'm giving money to, and how much I'm giving to somebody. And these kids today are a lot much more smarter today. Okay, they know their value. We knew our value, but we had rules, right? And I know I was scared. I had some situations where I possibly could have gotten money myself, but because, being fearful, knowing that this is a rule that I'm not supposed, I you know I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to risk, you know, my opportunity of playing college sports, right? When I was getting recruited. So there are things that I know some guys who are a lot heavier recruited than I was. Okay, there are stories that I've heard and shared, and I know they're more than likely are true, and they're not lying. I saw what some guys were driving. Okay, when I was in high school, and some guys were major recruits and things like that. So it's nothing new. It's just that, hey, he has to expose how much he's paying a guy, and that's tough when I'm recruiting guys, and some guys I'm recruiting, and whether they're at the same position or not, I'm recruiting them to come to Alabama. And now these kids talk. They're gonna DM each other about, hey, what they were offered, blah blah, or what I got offered, you know. And so he has to deal with athlete getting that information and saying, hey, coach, oh, what's going on with that? Why am I not getting paid this or paid that? And these kids aren't afraid to ask because they know what they bring to the table. They know Nick Saban has won championships because he always had, in most cases, the bulk of the 4 and 5 star athletes on his roster that was going to help him, win games, win championships. Okay, I'm not saying he's not a good coach. The heck, it's not hard to coach when you have some of the when you're getting the bulk of the talent at one school because you were before NIL, you were able to pay guys, nice, okay, under the table without people knowing about it. But now that people know about it because it's a rule, okay, don't hurt the athletes' opportunities by trying to spin a narrative that um, it's going to ruin the game of college football. If that's the case, college football would have been ruined, or college sports, basketball, and all that stuff would have been ruined a long time ago. It hasn't affected it all these years, but once again, understand these kids are not getting paid by the college or the university. That's not what NIL rule is. Okay, the NCAA rule is allowing these students or these athletes now to be able to make some money off their name, image, and likeness because there was millions of dollars being made off jersey sales. I don't care what sport it is. There's a lot of money. It may not have been millions of dollars in soccer, but if that school was known for soccer, okay, then yeah, they're probably making quite a bit of money with selling soccer gear or baseball jerseys, right? Soccer jerseys. Don't think jerseys aren't being sold in those other sports. At their level, they're making pretty decent money for the popularity of that sport, especially if you're at an institution that, hey, they rule soccer, right? Or they rule softball, right? Or they rule lacrosse, and now with things being more viral today and more access to see stuff, because I know I fell in love with the Boston College, the BC women's lacrosse team when my son was there, and I still watch him and follow him as much as I can, right? But because of the access and exposure that I had to it, it made me a lover of lacrosse, women's lacrosse especially. Okay, because it's just something about seeing some of those young ladies do some of the moves and some of the man. I tell you, it's just something to see, and I fell in love with it when I um, got more exposed to it because I was in Boston going to see my son play football when he was there. So to me, that was just awesome, right? And now you can go on Instagram and YouTube and catch things, or um, part of your TV package allow you to have access to see these things. So yeah, I mean it's just more opportunity to see these other sports, and so those other sports are growing at leaps and bounds that they weren't able to grow at before. But I just want you to understand that it's not ruining um, college sports, and they don't need to be on the payroll. Let the alumni who want to endorse or collective put a collective together to raise enough money for NIL opportunities for their wrestlers, for their softball players, for their baseball players, for their soccer players, for their volleyball players, whether it's beach or indoor volleyball, you know. So let them collect that money. Let that third party organization collect that money and raise that money for those people who love the game 24/7 in whatever specific sport that is. Okay. Just like Olympics. Olympians are amateurs, but they're still making money because they're part of the Diamond League, or they're being sponsored by Nike or New Balance or Reebok, right? Or Brooks, okay? Adidas, right? So some of those things I just named, those are big soccer and track and field uh, uh, designers, for playing in your sport, right? I love Adidas uh, track and field spikes when I ran. Right, New Balance was one, but Nike was okay. They were okay. Um, I thought they were okay, but to me, I just felt Adidas and New Balance, and I think Reebok were made a pretty good shoe for track and field. But you guys have to understand, the Olympics haven't been ruined because of it still being considered a amateur sport. But they're making some of these people are now making hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of dollars because, like Noah Lyles, he has a personality. Okay, we have people who can go viral now, make money now and get followers. I think it's awesome. It's not ruining the amateurism of the Olympics. Okay, and so stop thinking it's going to ruin the amateurism of college sports. It is not. It might ruin it if you get paid by the college, but they don't need to get paid by the college. Let them get paid by the alumni who want to give that money, who want to give money back, In a lot of different ways they are. Okay. But you have TV money now, you have YouTube. There's a lot of ways colleges are making money with their content that they put out for their athletic programs as well. And so why not have the athlete be able to make some money for themselves by doing some viral things, or getting the alumni who wants to have them show up at their dealership or at the grocery store that they own, okay, or at their business, um, whatever the case. So no, it's not ruining college sports at all. Let's stop uh, taking away from the athlete. We've done that far too long, and so now it's time to allow these billions of dollars not to just be in the hands of the NCAA or the institution. Okay, don't think that scholarship has is an equal repay to an athlete who risk their bodies, okay, and have to do more than just a traditional student to stay um, eligible so they can perform and get the opportunity to play. Their college sport is a job, okay, and so you look at 4 years of what that scholarship is worth. That athlete probably has brought in 2 to 3 times that much money in their sport and helping the school earn, and the success that some of these programs may have, and the TV money and all those different things now that you can show other sports. So don't think that these athletes don't deserve or should have the opportunity to have some NIL opportunities. Okay, so let's not be fooled, guys. Just want to let you know. Okay, but NIL has leveled the playing field, and that's another thing I think Nick Saban has realized. Right? He's not going to have the chance to win those championships like he used to, because now you got to really coach. Not saying that he didn't coach before. Okay, I think he's a great coach. Absolutely, I know he's a great coach. But now when the playing field is much more even, and that's what you want. I want an even playing field. So let me see how great this play caller is, how on offense, and how great this play caller is on defense. Okay, let's see really how good you are in your play calling, because now it's even. Okay, there's some guys that may have would have gone to Alabama, but because another school decided to get them more NIL opportunities, hey, that's to me that's lovely. That's great. Let's even this thing out. I'm tired of seeing the same people win championships all the time. Let's give some other folks an opportunity. And to me, that's what NIL has brought to the college sports, which I think is lovely. It has elevated the women's sports. It has elevated some programs who normally are in the bottom that now can possibly raise themselves up and compete even more or better. And NIL to me has brought that and will continue to do that. And so and and to me, if you want to play, then you can't all go to Michigan. You can't all go to Alabama. Okay, you're you may or may not get on the field, right? And you may or may not make as much money, NIL money, because you're not on the field because everybody decided to go one place. Well, that stuff, NIL, is helping that stuff even out a little bit better. And to me, that's great. So that's my thought on it. That's my opinion. Hey, you can put some comments in there. Tell me what you think. You know, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the recording on YouTube. Of course, I'm always posting uh, shorts on TikTok and my IG, and feel free to comment. But be sure, guys, continue to help this Love the Game 24/7 get the word out. Be sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow, like, pump up the viewership for me on all these platforms. Like I said, go to linktree.com, love the game 24_7, and get the word out there. Um, you can get more information about the digital course, 10-week digital course. That's going to be sign up is going to this week here is going to be the final week for people to sign up. And like I said, it's $9.97, and you can cash app or PayPal at love the game 27. And so I look forward to having you guys be a part of the 10-week digital course. So have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys listening in, and I hope that these topics of discussion were great topics for you. And but you just have to ask yourself, what culture do I want to be in that's going to better elevate me, my success, and my development from high school, with high school parents, kids from middle school to high school. It's the same mindset you got to take from high school when it's time to get recruited to go to college. You got to have that same mindset. You have to ask yourself those same questions. What culture do I want to be in that I think is going to best help develop me and elevate my game? And then potentially maybe take me to another level of beyond and above college level. And if not, I made some great relationships while I was in college and have some other opportunities coming my way, but I got my education paid for in full. All right. That's the goal. And so I appreciate you guys joining me. Um, have a great rest of the weekend. It's raining here in North Carolina, on southeast North Carolina, in Wilmington area, but love it. But once again, I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to you joining me again on Wednesday night on some great content. And I'm going to be putting together some interviews. So I'm working on that now, and I'll be announcing some interviews and promoting that and marketing that. And so be sure you join in and be able to come on and even ask some questions. So thank you for joining me again this Saturday, and have a great rest of the day and weekend. And I know that we're supposed to get some sunny days tomorrow and Sunday, which I'm hopeful. But thank you guys, and continue to just show my appreciation for you being a part of this Love the Game 24/7 podcast. Have a great rest of the day.